Okay. So, any idea on this topic? Or what do you know about this? If you have to answer this question, what is a object-oriented concept? Let's say you are in an interview, anybody asking you this question. How you are going to explain this?
Like we use class objects.
You use class and object and
We use inheritance, encapsulation, and abstract method, abstract class to enhance the performance of our code. We use OOPS ABAP.
how it is enhancing the performance?
So we can use the code, reusability of code.
Reusability of code. Any other feature? Reusability is one of the most important feature here. But any other feature? Okay, no issue. Alright guys, so please mute yourself. Meanwhile, if you have any question, you can unmute and you can ask question at any time. So, OOPS stands for Object Oriented Programming System. Oriented Programming System. And this system is completely based on the day-to-day activity of a human being, human or any living being. If you focus on your nearby world, you'll also realize that we are surrounded with the OOPS. Very interesting question. How we are surrounded with this. So let's understand this. OOPS is completely based on mainly two things only. Completely based on mainly two things only. Mainly two things only. First one is your class and second one is your object. Only two things. Rest everything are the properties of it which will come either inside the class or inside the object. Now just understand the situation. If you have to store any object, or let's say if you have to store any value, what you do first? You always create a data object like variable, text element, or constants or anything where you are going to simply store it, or maybe you can create tables also. But before creating them, what do we need? We always need a data type, right? That specifies what is the type of data. Similar to that, this class is the one. Class is a user defined data type. First thing is a user defined data type. User defined data type. So as a user, we can specify what are the things, what are the properties, what are the features this class is going to have. And class is a blueprint for creating objects. Class is a blueprint for creating object, or you can also call it a template. Blueprint or template. Just take a very simple example. For example, let's say I have to create any house or any building. So before directly investing the amount on its item like cement, bricks or any other things, what will be my first approach? I will first design a template for my house, like how many rooms are going to be there, where I will store, where the window will be there, where I will be storing my almirah and all those things, right? So first I will always create a blueprint, or you can call it a design also. Okay. So this is just a design, and based on the design we will create our real life entity, which is your object. So class is a logical entity. Class is a logical entity, and it do not takes any space in the real world. Class is a logical entity and it do not takes any space in the real world. Now a class can have many things like methods, attributes, events, interfaces, friends, etc. Class can have many things, but but mainly but mainly the class will have only two properties. Again, two properties which are majorly used. First one is your attributes and second one is your behavior. This attribute is also known as properties. Mainly two things. So who is going to explain me what is a property and what is a behavior? What is a property and what is a behavior? So for any class, properties means features of the object. For example, a human being will have two hands, two legs, one mouth, right? All these things that you see, they are the properties. They are predefined, they are the properties. So they have been defined inside the human class, and based on that, God is designing us, right? So this is the property. And in OOPS, properties are also known as attributes. Properties are also known as attributes. Then we have the behavior. Behavior is how the class will behave. How the object will behave based on certain inputs from the user. So behavior are methods where we can write our custom logic to fulfill the user requirement. User requirement. For example, you all told me that you want to learn OOPS also. So what was my behavior? I told, okay, we can have a brief introduction session on object-oriented concept. So this is a behavior. So I am the one who is writing the logic. So I am the object, and this is how I am behaving on this topic. So just a question here, a very interesting question. How methods are different than function modules? Yes, how methods are different than function modules? Are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How methods are different than function modules, and which one we should use and why? This is an interview question, guys. How methods are different than function modules, and which one we should use and why? Okay, just see this part. Methods are implemented in form of classes. First thing, classes inside the class pool, and since they follow the oriented concept, they can be used to decouple our logic, and since they are directly related to the objects, that is why their performance is very high. Now if we talk about a function module, what is a function module? A function module is a reusable piece of code, right? So function modules are stored in function group, and they are implemented in form of procedures in ABAP system. In ABAP system, right? And their performance is not that high if we compare with the methods. They are implemented in form of procedures. They are stored in a include program inside the function group. You can check it, right? Inside one single function group we can store 99 function modules. That is why methods are highly used. And if you go for ABAP on HANA or ABAP on cloud, or maybe the futuristic approach, only object oriented is the thing that is going to be available for next 20 years. Your entire traditional programming is getting obsolete day by day, and everything is moving towards only object oriented concept. Only object oriented concept here. Now what is this object? So object is the real life entity. Real life entity which takes some space. Object is an instance of the class. Instance of the class. Real life entity which takes some space, and it is an instance of the class. So using the class, the object is created. Just example here I can write it. For example, using the human class, we are created. Let's take this example. If I will normally go to Google, and here I will search for human structure. Just see this. This is a human structure, right? Same thing we all have, right? Two hands, two legs, one mouth, everything. So using the class, the object is created. Similarly, using the design of the house or any building, that building will be created by the builder. So that building will become the object, and that design will be the class. So it is a user defined data type created by the user based on the requirement. So whenever you have to purchase a car, what you do? You always go to a car showroom, and that car owner, how they are implementing, they are using the same approach. They have a design for the car. That design is nothing but a class, and using that design they are creating the object which is your car, right? So only saying that they will have methods and all these things, this is a technical definition, that's okay. But how do you understand this object oriented concept? This is very, very crucial, right? Now, classes. So types of classes in SAP system. Now let's come back to SAP system. Types of classes in SAP system. So SAP ABAP offers mainly two kinds of classes. Mainly two kinds of classes. First you are going to see will be your global class, and second one will be your local class. Can anybody explain this? What is the difference between them? What does
Local
global and
means
local?
we
Yeah.
program and global we can use in any program.
Okay. How?
Means like we created in for only for one program, and globally we can use it in any program.
That is okay. But how do you think they are internally stored here? How this thing become global and how this thing only became local? Just see, very basic concept, which we
Uh,
never focus on.
you global like using SC24 we created.
That part I got. SC24 is the section we create a class. That's okay. Just see this thing. Global
Mm.
classes, when you create a global class is always created in the global class pool. Not like only AC24, you can create it from ACAT also, right? So T codes are just the shortcuts to take us to that particular location, right? So global class is always created in the global class pool and they are available centrally throughout the ACP system. That is why we can call them from any program or any piece of code. They are created centrally in the global class pool. Then you have the local class. So local class is always created within the scope of a function module or a program, and that is why it is limited to that program only. That is why it is only limited to that program only. That is why it is local class. So global classes are created from AC24 transaction code. Global classes are created from AC24 transaction code. This T code is also known as class builder. Class builder, and we mainly create our local classes from SE38, right? We mainly create our local classes from SE38. Also, in SAP system, global classes are of four types. Tell me yes. Can you please tell me their names? Sunita, Subhangi, anyone?
No update. I'm very new to object-oriented programming.
Okay, no issue. So global classes here are of four types. First one, you might have heard it named usual ABAP class. Usual ABAP class. Second one is your exception class. Third one is persistence class. And the fourth one that we have is unit test class. Usual ABAP, exception, persistence, and unit test class. So this is the most common global class that we normally create. That is why its name is usual ABAP class. The most common global class that we normally create, and you can call it like around 95% of the time you will only be creating usual ABAP class, or you can normally call this one as global class also. So this will be defined on the SE24, and we can use it anywhere. Then you have the exception class. So this class is used to create the global custom exceptions. Global custom exceptions. So these exceptions represents specific error conditions or situations that can occur during the program execution. Right? That can occur during the program execution. So the purpose of this class, of this exception class, is to raise and handle the exception. Like an event handler. A event will be raised and then handled. Same stuff. Exception will be raised and it will be handled also. Then you have the persistence class. So this class is dedicated to perform operations with the persistence storage, like DB, and in our case, which is HANA. Persistence storage. So this class is focused for performing the CRUD operations with the database. This class is focused for performing the CRUD operations with the database. CRUD. Very interesting. Create, read, update, and delete. And guys, if you will focus on any application, either it can be Amazon, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, any operation, the only thing that is going on in the market is this CRUD operation. The only thing that is going on in the market is CRUD only. Just check it. Go for any app. Let's say I'm going for anything, for example, Amazon. I'm going for Amazon. Here what I will do, either I will log in, I will create my account, right? I will do the sign in. I will purchase a item. I will purchase a item. So I will first read the records that are available here. Maybe I will be updating my account status, or then I will be deleting the account status. So whatever, anything that we are doing CRUD only at any place, even in your SAP application. SAP is only for ERP data. So this is completely CRUD only, right? This is completely CRUD only. At last, you have unit test class. So
Uh, What is
yeah,
the persistence storage means?
I'm talking about here database. Persistence storage only means database, a
Acha,
storage system. Okay. So this is mainly for performing CRUD operation. Here it will, this class will have all the methods which we can directly use. Okay. This class will have all the methods for the CRUD which we can directly use. Then unit test class is there. So a unit test class in ABAP system is used for testing the functionality of the individual unit of code. So sometime we want to test our small piece of code, typically methods or functions in isolation. Sometime we want to test our small piece of code of methods, function, or anything. In that situation, what we can do, we can create a unit test class. This class is only dedicated for testing purpose. So these tests verify that each unit of code behaves as expected under various conditions and inputs. Okay. So overall, only thing that you are seeing here is the main class is your usual ABAP class. This is the main global class. Here you can perform anything, you can create any kind of method. However, there are three different classes also, and they are dedicated for some separate concept. So if you are going for exceptions, you want to create a global exception, you can go for this class. It will be more useful. Similarly, if you are going only for a CRUD operation, you can go for persistence. Or if you want to test some piece of code, you can go for unit test class, right? And local classes, there are no type of local classes. That is a local class only. It will be created within the scope of either function module or a program from AC38 ABAP editor, right? Now let's see the syntax of our class. Syntax. So in OOPS ABAP, we will always have a class definition and class implementation. Class implementation. So class definition is the section where we declare our attributes and methods, and class implementation section is where we implement or we write our logic for methods. Two things will be there. So definition part, so for example class, local class, This is the name I'm giving here. Definition will be there, and class. This is your definition or declaration part. Class definition, right? And then we will have the class implementation. So class implementation will be class local class implementation, okay, and class. This is how your class definition and class implementation is looking like. Then for creating objects, we can follow two syntax. One is a part of 7.4 and the another one is a part of your earlier before 7.4. So that is how it is created. Let me just show you. So first syntax, or letter I should write old syntax, it will be here data hello underscore object type ref to your class name. So my class name is local class, local underscore class, and here we use create object local object. This is the old syntax. This is how your object was created earlier. Now with new syntax coming into the picture, that part we will see in detail when we will be discussing the HANA new syntax, but for now only a overview. So this is inspired from Java programming, and we use new keyword here to create the object. We use the new keyword to create the object. So directly you can write like this way: data keyword hello underscore object is equal to new and class name, like this way. Both of them are same thing. Meanwhile, this will be more better because it is short and it is a part of new syntax. New keyword is used to create the object, completely inspired from Java programming, right? So if I open my SAP system, let's go to AC24, and what you can see here, this is your class builder. Just pass the name of your class. So first global class, okay, go for creation. So two things you will always found when you will always go for creation of a class or interface. Interface part we will discuss, but for now just class, and here pass a short description. So global class. Now just see this type of class: usual ABAP, exception, persistence, and unit test class, right? Usual ABAP class, exception class, persistent class, and unit test class. So I will go for usual ABAP and save it. Sign your package and transport request. This is your class interface here. This is your class interface. If you will go, first tab is your properties tab. This properties tab will consist of your generic information of the class, like package, language created, program status, message if you are using any message class here, whether you want to allow the creation of object of this class or not. So here I have used the public keyword, that is we can create object of this class from any place, right? Here you have got interfaces. You can include any number of interface. That part I will also show a overview on that. This is a friend class. Again, you can include any number of friends. The friend class will have the access of all the private and protected properties of this class. Then this attribute, one thing, attribute, method, events. You can declare here local structure also and aliases also. Everything you can use, right? So they all are the tabs defined inside a global class, and everything whatever you are defining in the global class, everything can be implemented in the local class also. But for our local class, we will have to follow a certain syntax. Here global class, we are just using the predefined features and GUI approach to write our logic. Meanwhile, in the local class, everything will be programmatically only. Everything will be programmatically only, right? So let me just discuss this attribute and behavior. Where is attribute? Yes. Attributes and behavior. So attributes, or better we should write it below. Attributes in ABAP. I will ask a question here. So Sunita, tell me one thing, like whenever we want to store any value, it can be numeric, it can be character, or it can be any integer also. What I do then in my ABAP program?
Have to create some variable like
We have to
instant
create a
attribute.
variable.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, perfect. So similarly here also, if we want to store any value in, what we will need? We will need a container, right? So attributes are like a variable in object in ABAP. Attributes are like a variable in ABAP which are used to store some value. And there are two types of attributes. First one is your static attribute, and second one is your instance attribute. Very important, static and instance keyword. Again, interview question here. What is the difference between static and instance? So static word is a class property, or static is a class property. That is, if you have defined a static attribute, then you can use it by using the class name also. You don't need the object. By using the class name also. Static attributes can be used by using the objects also. Now, in local classes or in any class, even if you will go behind the scenes, if you want to see how the logic has been implemented here, so class data keyword is used to define a static attribute. Class data keyword. Then instance attribute is there. So instance is the object property, and they are specified to the objects only. They cannot be accessed from the class name. We will always need objects to access them. right? We will always need objects to access them. Now, how they are different? So here they are created by using the data keyword, normal to any, similar to any variable. Everything is created using data keyword. They all are data objects only, but here it is a static data object. So that is why it is known as static attribute. So static attributes are initialized only once. Are initialized only once. Only once. That is, memory will be allocated only once for static attribute, and it will be shared by all the objects. All the objects. That is why if you are making any modification in the static attribute, it will reflect to all the other objects. But instance attribute is completely different. Every time you will create a object, memory will be allocated to the instance attribute. That is why it is dedicated to the object only. If you are making any changes in the instance attribute, it will be reflected into that object only, not other objects. Making any changes to the instance attribute, it will be reflected to the object only, or to that object only. To that object only. These are your static and instance. So here I am in the attribute section. I can define here anything, right? So let's say I'm defining LV Matner for material number, or let's say sales document number, VBELN. I will go for label. Oh, it has been logged out. Let me reopen. This is 24. Change attributes LV Veblen, local variable Veblen, or better I should name it GV, global variable. And I will go for label and I will click on F4. Instance, static, or either there is another property constant also. If you do not want any value to be changed, you can go for this constant. So I will select here static. Then we have a visibility section. Very important. Visibility. Public, protected, and private. Who is going to explain this concept? Visibility of any property or method. Yes, Sunita. Do you have any idea here?
Yes, for public section, if we are not defining any visibility section, by default it will take means we have to define anyone that public, protected, or private. But what is public? Public is the component under this section can be accessed from the class and from outside the class also.
Okay.
And protected, the components under this class can be accessed from the class, from the subclass, but not from the outside the class.
And what about private?
Um, Private, only from the class means, but not from the subclass, and also not from the outside the class.
Okay, okay. Perfect answer. So, what do we mean by visibility? Visibility means from where we can access it. right? So SAP, or better OOPS ABAP, provides three kinds of visibility. Three kinds of visibility for every properties in a class. First one is your public, second one is your protected, and the third one will be your private. Public, protected, and private. What is public? So public properties can be accessed from anywhere. It is from the class also, from the child class also, and from the outside of the class also. Best example here I can say, for example, public park. Anybody can access it. Anybody can go there. Anybody can run there. Anybody can play there. So that is a public property given by government for everyone, right? Then protected. So a protected property can only be accessed by the class and the subclass or child class, but it cannot be accessed outside of the class. That is why it is a protected. Now here you can take example of land owned by me, right? So this can be accessed by me and my kids, but others will not have the access of it. So I can access it, child can access it, but it will not be accessed by others. That is why it is protected. So your properties are always in protected mode, and something is a private class, so something that is private to me only, or better private to class only, and can only be accessed from the class, right? You can take any example of this here. Any private thing that you have only the access of it, that will become the private. So same stuff, you can pass here any visibility. Let's make it public. Again, it has been logged out. 24. Lock has been applied. Okay, listen 12. I will release the lock. So I will again go to attribute section. Just define our Veblen, and I will go for label. Make it a static one. Then I will go for visibility. I will go for public section. Now I will make a pass here associated type also. So Veblen underscore VA is the data element, if I'm not wrong. Let me check it. VBAK. Yes. So I am passing its type Veblen VA, and I will give a short description also. Sales document number. If you want, you can pass any initial value also. So I will pass here a initial value or any number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 10 characters. So 1, 2, 3 up to 9. Okay. Let's save it and activate it. Our class is ready. Now you can access it. You can test it directly from here also. Click on execute and you can see here the variable value you are able to get it. This object has not been instantiated yet, right? So let's go to AC38 and the global class. I will pass here a title, global class, and type as executable, package and transport request. Okay. Now just see this. That is a static property. I have made this property as a static. So I will be able to access it by using the class name also, static, and I will be able to access it by using the object name also. So first I will use the class name. Copy the class name and this will static property here, class name. Now for static you use this symbol equal to and arrow. Press Control space. You can see it by default SAP is suggesting this GVVBELN, right? SAP is by default suggesting it. So we can directly call it by using the class name also. Using object. So I will follow the old syntax first using object, old syntax. Okay, so data keyword LO underscore obj1 is equal data object type ref2 class name and create the object, create object LO underscore obj1. Then you can use this object also. So write statement LO underscore obj1. This time it will be single arrow only. If you are using the object, you will use single arrow. If you are going for classes, you will go for this symbol. So control space and I will use this. Then I will go for new syntax. So data keyword LO underscore obj 2 is equal to new keyword and class name, then parenthesis. This is how it is created by using the new syntax. Use this. So write statement LO underscore obj2 LO underscore obj2 and property. So every time should be printed. Let me check its value. See 1 to 9 we are getting, right? 1 to 9 we are getting, right? 1 to 9 we are getting. And if you are modifying it here anyway, let's say I'm modifying it here. So after the first printing I will try to modify it, but it has been initiated already. So hello obj1 heavy babbling is equal to now, let's say 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Syntax save, activate, execute. Just see this, things have changed for the third one, right? We modified it from object 1, but if I am calling it by object 2, I am getting this result only, because this is a static property. Static property is limited to the class only. We cannot call it by using we can call it by using class and by using objects also. That is why this is static in nature. But if you will change the property here from static to instance, things will completely change. Now just go and check here, syntax check can only be specified with the static one. So this will not be used. This will not be used. And here, even if you are making any changes, it will not reflect to the object 2, because both of the object will have separate memory for the instance attribute. You see, same answer.
So in static we can use like using class and using object also, right? And in instance only using object.
Yeah, static is a class property, and you can call it like something which is global in nature, calling from anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is all for today's session. If you have any question, please ask.